We're back for the High School Sports Talk Plus video show. He is the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield, and Ed Young's picks have not been too good. My picks have been just as bad, probably worse, as we try to recover from a second week of the high school football season, Ed. And I think the game that really got us last night, there was a few of them, but Norview not scoring and getting shut out by Indian River. And Thursday night, the one that we sort of talked about and hinted at, watch out for on the video show last week. How about the Deep Creek Hornets beating Grassfield 29-7? Damon Everett runs wild in the first half, over 100 yards. And Andre Twine, new coach, has got a win. And Purple Thunder, it is loud, it's proud, it's been restored over there in Chesapeake.
Yeah. Deep Creek has some youngsters. I wanted to pick them, but I just kind of went to the safe pick of Grassfield. Deep Creek, this win's going to really spur them on. Grassfield's got some heavyweights coming up, but hats off to the Hornets. And Coach Twine, you said, I think we had him on earlier. First of maybe a lot, but then again, that Southeastern District. Come on now, Western Branch, Oscar Smith. But they got one of the heavies in Grassfield, so give them credit.
Well, and the quarterback, Tayshawn Jones, spread the ball around to 4 or 5 different receivers real well. The thing is, he won at the JV level. They were the second-best JV team to Oscar Smith and narrowly lost to them. Are they the second-best team right out of the gate to Oscar Smith in the district this year? No, I wouldn't say that. They're getting excited about September 15th, going to Western Branch with a chance there to do something big. They got Wilson first. I think they'll be in okay shape there. Hornets, though, certainly a team that's got to be on the minds of people as a playoff team. Remember last year they were sort of building towards this. They gave Lake Taylor a scare in the first round. So they brought back a few guys from that were close, and then they infused some new energy with the coaching staff, and you bring some guys up from the JV ranks that won, that are used to some victories.
And they won a middle school too.
They did. Program. So it's sort of the perfect storm and the right mixture, and it's happening for them at the right time. Grassfield, though, is it time to hit the panic button? It might be soon. They got Colonial Forge, Oscar Smith, Kings Fork next. Yes. They have a great linebacker in Seth Dobbs who's having to run the football more now. They graduated 30 seniors. Marty Asprey's group looks to be in a bit of a rebuild mode rather than a reload mode, and I just don't see Ed for the life of me. I mean, Grassfield's got a talent in school, and they have a good program. I just don't see that win coming in the next 3 weeks. They got Forge, Smith, Kings Fork. They might be looking at 0-4, and in 6, that can get you out of the playoffs. In 6, if you start out 0-4, yep. It's not like in Class 4 or Class 3 you can get in at 5-5. In Class 6, you need to have like 6 wins to get in, and that could be really tough to get to.
Yeah, if what occurred, were you saying that they may lose in their next 3-4 games, major downfall for Grassfield. Then they haven't been in that kind of a boat in a long time.
No, they haven't. And looking also elsewhere around the area with high school football games from Thursday and Friday night at Lancetown and Bayside over in the beach Thursday night. I was there amidst all the bugs that were in the press box and the giant horsefly that almost killed me. Thank God I'm still alive, everyone. And
sue them.
Despite a couple of terms. You think I should sue?
Sue them.
Is that what you would do?
No, but I'm telling you, you
should. Oh,
you're
telling me to sue? I don't want to. That's okay. I just want them to, give me some free food and give me some bug spray next time I come. I'd be happy with that. Free food, bug spray, I'd be good with that. 15-10, though, Lansdowne gets the win. Brent Stukes, dual threat quarterback. We heard his interview, giving a lot of credit to his teammates. And Joe White, the receiver, headed to UVA, made some plays, too, in that game. Tommy Reedman's got to be encouraged by the fact his next 3 games are not too tricky with Kempsville, PAFC. Plus, they'll get another 100-yard caliber running back returning to the fold in Victor Jones, who will complement Luke Manhaskett, the sophomore who's been making plays the last 2 weeks. So now their offense is getting a little more diverse, and the defense, even with some new faces and young guys, they're keeping people in check. Green run 14 points, and they hold Bayside at 10.
Yeah, Lansdowne they're making their mark early. I think, who they got next coming up?
They got Kempsville next. Longest losing streak in the state.
That'll be a win for them. This is great momentum for Tommy Reedman's group. They're going to solidify claim that I had said Bayside. I think you
just
picked.
Did. And then as soon as we have John White on the show, we were the jinx, just like the SI cover and the Madden video game cover. Now, Naquez Saunders did not play at quarterback. They did have a boatload of penalties. Your pick, Trey Jones, best player to beach, had 13 tackles at linebacker. I think he about suplexed somebody at the end of the game, too. He was all over the place making tackles. I think they still could be in that big beach mix. I don't see a team going 10-0.
Right.
And do you change your pick of who's the favorite in the beach now? You said it's going to change week to week. Do you now give it to Ocean Lakes? That's who I'm giving it to right now. Is Ocean Lakes. They got Tallwood this week, so Tallwood, if you beat them, then you're the new favorite. We'll give it to you right
I hate to jump off Bayside bandwagon. John White won't like this, but right now, today, and since I clarified earlier, I may be switching Ocean Lakes.
You go to Ocean Lakes.
I'll go to Ocean Lakes.
Now, if Tallwood beats them, who they just came from 20 points down, the Cardiac Kids over there, John Keppel's crew, doing it quietly. Sebian Stone at quarterback, Antoine Cade at running back. We've seen Steven Rosuro step up at receiver to go with Lamar Gilbert. If they knock off Ocean Lakes, which they did a year ago, then I think we got to start looking at Tallwood once again as a surprise team coming out of nowhere from the Beach District.
Yeah, I don't see Tallwood going that high. I just don't. Ocean Lakes, you'll hear from Bayside. They'll slip a little. Lansdowne will be straight up there. Salem, we're not even talking about them.
What about Salem? They beat PA and Kempsville, so had they been tested yet?
Yeah.
We got to wait till they play on Ocean Lakes or Lansdowne.
Yeah.
I like their defense, especially up front with Dwayne Platt and Terrence Joseph leading that group. The running backs are good with LaMarco Williams and Killen Black. Do they have that passing element in their arsenal? Can they throw the football if the running game gets contained? I wonder about that, and I wonder about how good their offense really is.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, too.
As well as their offensive line, to a degree.
You put the ball, of course, you know me, I like the ball in the air regardless. But that's going to be a key, is can they put that ball in the air?
And it's not their fault. They've only seen PA and Kempsville out of the gate here. So the other defense, we highlighted Lansdowne's defense a little bit, Ed. The Norcom Greyhounds, they keep Hopewell to 2 scores, Lafayette to 10 points. They got some hard-hitting linebackers with Alan Boykins and T.J. Jones and Antonio Hines. At the D-line spot is really the unsung hero. Had a huge game against Lafayette, and they keep Lafayette down to that point total of 10. We had Larry Archie on the show, and he's got to be excited because he's getting it done with some underclassmen too.
2-0, hats off to them. They beat a really, really good Lafayette. That's the momentum they want. And we talked, as you said, we talked to Larry, and I even mentioned to him about, I know he don't want to hear it, they can go on a nice little string.
Yeah.
They can go on a nice little string now. Kids keep their head right, and thank God we get no injuries. They can be that way.
Well, the nice thing for their 10th grade quarterback in Jacoby Smith is that a year ago he was a freshman, kind of bright-eyed, and now he's got some playmakers that can kind of take some of it off his plate. The pressure alleviated with Quentin Green, the transfer from Churchland, and then Kassan Dixon, the junior's got an NC State offer. They've got some guys. Greg Amos made some plays for them both sides of the ball. They got some players that can, be that supporting cast for him and make his job a lot easier. I think offensively they'll get better. That's sort of the question with them because they've only scored 33 points and 2 wins. We'll find out about their offense come October when they start seeing Lake Taylor and Maury and Northview, some teams in that Eastern District. Oh, by the way, what about Lake Taylor? We mentioned Northview being 0-2 in the district. They got some work to do, playing a lot of freshmen, sophomore guys. Lake Taylor plays a freshman in Malik Newton at running back. He runs wild. The Titans get the win, even with a couple of linemen out against Western Branch, 34-26. Another bend but don't break defense there. They get 3 takeaways, very opportunistic. Corey, the Gripper Holloway, as Hank Sawyer called him,
The Gripper,
made some plays with a sack and a pick, and Donovan Bishop had a pick late in that game as well. They get outgained by Western Branch, but they don't give up completion, and they jump on them fast. And as we highlighted, digging out a hole against Lake Taylor, they will make it hard for you, and they'll put you in the hole.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I just don't. It's a good start for them. I think they'll continue through. Defense got to stay locked. I like them. I like them.
And Western Branch now coming off that loss, they got Kings Fork next.
Yeah, and I know you big on Kings Fork, but I think Western Branch comes back and knocks off the Bulldogs. Should be making my prediction right now.
Yeah.
But I guess
the Nansemond River guys while he did that.
No,
on Kings Fork, folks.
I just can't see Western Branch 0-2. But if they are, it's Lake Taylor and Kings Fork, 2 really good programs.
True.
So they're not losing to the old proverbial chopped liver team.
Well, and Brequan Harrell had a big night running the ball at quarterback for them. They should get a couple of passes completed, given that, depending on the weather. We got to see if it's rainy and windy like it was last night. And
there'll be no rain and no wind. There'll be some rain.
Oh gosh, here he goes with
no hurricane.
Stick to the football picks, please.
Okay,
Instead
I'll
of
do that.
Mother Nature. Let Mother Nature make those picks. You could be onto something there. Kings Fork's coming off the bye week. They did beat Wilson handily. I like Kings Fork. This is going to rattle the Bruin Crazy's cage. I like Kings Fork by multiple scores in that game. 2-3 touchdowns in that game. Now, Western Branch, if they play ball control and keep them from making it a track meet type of game,
Right.
they can win and get to 1-1. Kings Fork, we've been highlighting it for a couple months now. This is the barometer game for Kings Fork to see where the gauge of them is. And I got a feeling we might be talking about them putting up 35, 42 points because Western Branch's defense, outside of some guys on the defensive front that had some big plays, hitting guys, Javon Sparrow at linebacker, Jalen Alexander at D-tackle, there were some lapses on defense they got to correct to contain Kings Fork's offense, which has some game breakers, not just playmakers, but some game breakers.
I think Western Branch will do it. I think they'll get back on track. Tough opening game against Lake Ted. I don't really think they embarrassed themselves.
Yeah.
And by the way, the kid, the youngster, the running back for
Newton.
Lake Ted, first time he touches the ball, he goes 50 to the house.
52 the next time he touched it.
And then 52 the next time he touches it. What a story he'll be able to tell.
And he's not even the main starter. Deion Smith is that 3-year starter, so he's just a compliment in the backfield for Coach Sawyer, and they'll get Tavion Copeland, the old lineman, back. You know, last year, we remember when Lake Taylor lost to Heritage, we were saying, Oscar Smith lost the national game, Hampton lost to Heritage, Ocean Lakes had lost. We were talking about these name programs, these high-profile programs with how they'd respond, and it's similar this year in the fact that, Northview's 0-2. Lafayette, could they drop to 0-2 or should they lose to Smithfield? Could Western Branch have a couple losses? Grassfield, who's been good, we mentioned. There's some, you look at some teams in the Beach. Cox has got to take on Granby. They want to avoid 0-2 after winning the Beach District title for the first time or finishing atop the standings for the first time in the program's history. So you wonder about some of these teams here and where their psyche is and level of it. And I think the other one that really sticks out to me is Lafayette now, playing Smithfield game 2. Norcom, you figure, had more speed on the outside than Lafayette.
I think that's true. And maybe a little bit more depth. Maybe use guys a little bit more so.
Well, their D-line was ready to handle the O-line of Lafayette and not get pushed around. And the question this week against Smithfield is they have, dare say, enough depth and the strength to run the ball on Smithfield. Smithfield gave up 61 to Dinwiddie. Their offense also scored 38 on Dinwiddie. And is Lafayette's defense with a relatively new group of linebackers, are they equipped to handle Willie Drew in that Smithfield attack? Granted, minus Chris Pierce, granted, minus Will Robinson, 1,000-yard back, pretty much a 1,000-yard receiver. I would wonder about Lafayette's defense coming into this matchup. They don't want to get in a high-scoring shootout.
Well, like I said on the radio show, winning cures a lot of ills or actually covers up a lot of ills. So if they keep their heads inside their helmet, so to speak, I think Lafayette comes back. Smithfield's a dangerous team to play in the second game, but I don't feel confident in Smithfield stopping anybody. And if you're going to allow Lafayette to run wild, they're going to put points on the board.
True, I think that the concern with Smithfield's defense is very fair and legitimate. Granted, their offense can put up some mega numbers. And you did say, start of the year, 0-2 for Smithfield, and then they'll rattle off 8 in a row.
Right.
So they're another part of it we could be talking about a week from now, like, they're 0-2 now. Can they get it together? And I think the Bay River schedule that's in front of them will cure some of their concerns as they move forward. So Woodside, you liked a little bit against Highland Springs. Didn't go out on a limb and pick them.
I was almost tempted to pick Woodside.
47-12 Springers.
Thank God I didn't, because that score would have shut me up quick.
You look at what Dinwiddie did there against Smithfield and what Highland Springs did against Woodside, and we're going to make the 757 people mad, is the best football being played in the 804 right now in Richmond. They've won a state title with Highland Springs the last 2 years. Hermitage looks like they could this year. Thomas Dale put a whooping on LC Bird, and they're good in Class 6. Maybe on the come-up. Monacan, we know, has been a threat in Class 4 along with Dinwiddie. Is Richmond got the best football right now? Have they passed Tidewater by?
I hesitate to say, yeah, I'm a 757 guy. I still think we have it here, but they're not too far behind. Always had a ton of talent. They just got to be organized and put that energy to the right usage.
Well, and as we look ahead a little bit with some of these games coming up, Ed, in the area, and one that sticks out to me, I mentioned the Grassfield Colonial Forge game on the show. That's a team that's ranked number 1 in the state in Class 6, and Colonial Forge coming off a 49-0 thumping of Albemarle. How about this one here? We mentioned Lafayette Smithfield too. What about Tallwood Ocean Lakes? Ocean Lakes with a chance now to really, before the Salem game and Cox, to really say we have recovered from all the players we lost to Bishop Sullivan last year, which is another storyline we'll get to in a second with Bishop Sullivan. They lost so many guys, and Joe Jones walked into a tough situation, and I think he's making the most of it along with DC Chris Ramey there. They brought in Matt Lim, a former head coach, as the new OC, used to be the head coach at War Hill years ago. I think they've gotten a staff together, and they've gotten everybody on board, whereas last year was that transition year, and people were kind of saying, well, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think you're looking at that same idea that they're going to be okay, but I just go Ocean Lakes in this game. You know, I say 3 touchdowns.
Woo!
Dare I say 4?
Whoa!
Tallwood, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me.
You should hate him more than Western Braves should hate me right now.
I just think Ocean Lakes is going to get on a roll. They're going to put points on the board. Nothing against Tallwood.
Which came from 20 points down, and they can come from behind.
It's true too, but
I don't know if Ocean Lakes can come from behind with their passing game. That's what I'm still wanting to see.
Right.
Xander Jedlick there. They got Jalen Smith, the receiver. He's the new quarterback. Tyler Browning's a really solid running back for them. He's got some scholarship offers from some of the FCS schools. I would wonder about Ocean Lakes getting in a hole. There's some teams in the beach that I'm not sure they can climb out of a hole. I think we have learned through 2 weeks that 2 teams can climb out of a hole in the beach. Tallwood's one of them, and Bayside, the other one, they were down 17-7 to Cox. So I think those are 2 teams that can throw the ball and get back in a game if they get down. Another game I'm going to keep a close eye on here, Ed, as you look at the games around the Hampton Roads area in the Peninsula District. Kickitan, you highlighted them as the most improved on the show. They're 2-0 now, and they got Woodside next on a Thursday night. Woodside smarting from that loss to Highland Springs. Alonzo Coley's got a team that it's not too long ago. They were at 8-9 win team, and they had Tyler Christ, William Mary, Jason Fugate was at Charlotte, and Desmond Savage and that crew that was right there among the better teams in the PD.
yeah. I don't know. Kickitan, I think they could sustain it. I hesitate to pick them over Woodside. Woodside's got to get moving. Kickitan has to show that they're real. The 2-0 is great. Ties last year's win total. If I was picking right this second, I would still go Woodside. Wouldn't be surprised to see Kickitan win. I just think Kickitan needs that momentum to get that one big signature win, and then that'll get them going.
Well, can they generate enough offense? Because they had 28 in the first game against Churchland, but they had a 90-yard pick six, Lee Beeman. They get 21 on Bethel, and they also had a defensive score in that game. So you wonder if, those opportunistic plays on the defense, takeaways, turn into points are nice, but how long do those sustain over a 4 or 5 week period when you start to see Hampton and Phoebus and Heritage and other teams in the PD that are
those teams aren't going to make those kind of mistakes that you're going to be able to capitalize on.
Exactly right. So that's also of note there. And right now we're only a couple games in. I think we're starting to see some freshmen emerge. We talked about Malik Newton and Lake Taylor. Denzel Lowry, a defensive tackle from Lansdowne, has made a presence felt. We've got some underclassmen that are starting to really establish themselves. Cameron LeBourne, younger brother of Killen LeBourne, picked up an offer from Virginia Tech yesterday. We saw Keandre Lambert from Maury make a long touchdown against Nansemond River. I think the sophomores and freshmen in the area, we're in good hands with the future here in the 757.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's rare that you put those young kids out there and that they're not going to make mistakes, because they usually are. I mean, any high school kid, but when you're a freshman, absolutely. But it is interesting to see more coaches leaning towards freshmen, not just to play them, because there's a ton more playing, but some guys that are having those big years, this big season this early.
Before we get to an upset special, we'll see if Ed can pick one and I can pick one out for next week. We got to touch on Bishop Sullivan. They played last week against American Heritage out of Florida. Looked like they were going to win the game. And let me tell you something, the hospitality there was fantastic. I think I sent you a picture of the food.
You mentioned it.
Oh, man, you missed some great grub up there. They took care of us. Great job.
I'm sure you and Jimmy had more than enough for me.
Actually, it wasn't Jimmy. He wasn't there. We would have really been clean out of in that case.
Forget it for Jimmy.
But the food was fantastic there in the press box. The game was a good, hard-hitting game. Taraji Mitchell, the Ohio State commit, made some hits that were tremendous, as did Tank Land at corner. But Bishop Sullivan went for it a couple times on fourth down, kind of perplexing why they did with the lead and got stopped, similar to the IMG game a year ago. And then St. Francis out of Baltimore, who was ranked, but if I remember right, ranked behind Bishop Sullivan in one national poll, they took it to them 29-8. They got Armani Chapman back allegedly from his suspension from one game. They did lose Jake Lowe, the running back, torn ACL, and that's a huge blow to the running back field now as Michael Martinez, the other Bayside transfer, now becomes the focal point on the ground. And he's good, but now you don't have that 1-2 punch. More on the shoulders of Tyler DeSue, the quarterback going to Maryland. And Bishop's defense was so tough in the first game. They give up 29 to St. Francis. They're 0-2 now. I think they fall out of a lot of people's minds as the number 1 team.
Yeah, I think so. 0-2, yes.
And yeah, they don't have a postseason now. They don't have a championship. So I think it's a real tough thing to swallow. If they had won that game 1-1, you think you're feeling pretty good. Now it's going to be tough to respond from this 0-2. Now their schedule's not going to be, I don't think, as tough the next few weeks. They still have some powers to play that are really good teams, but now you just wonder here at 0-2, as some of the, I dare say, the mystique that they've gotten, from a year or so with some of the players they've acquired, has it worn off a little bit?
No, I don't think it would. I don't think that necessarily is the way to look at it. I just think that it's a team. Bishop Sullivan has so many transfers in, and now we said this in the summer, chemistry. Getting chemistry. But then on the other hand, I say the two teams they played they've got a lot of Division I athletes on those teams. A lot of kids that are committed. So, yeah, we want to kind of get down on Bishop Sullivan right now. They're 0-2, and a lot of people want to snicker at them because a lot of kids kind of moved into that area or to go into that school, and a lot of coaches obviously aren't happy, especially if they lost those kids. But I think Chris Scott knew what he was getting into when he set up this kind of schedule, his so-called national schedule. Every game's going to be tough, and you're not quite sure which is going to go, and you just hope it prepares them enough, obviously, for down the road.
Well, 0-2 now, I think you want to avoid falling to 0-3 or getting to a point where it's 1-4, 1-5, because now you're not talked about in the national rankings anymore. So they have to really, and it's unfortunate with Lowe's injury because it was a huge blow to what they were doing and what they were hoping to do, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond from that moving forward here, Ed, as we now pick an upset special for next week. I'm going to give you some games. You give me, if you got one.
I got to hear some games.
You already claimed Ocean Lakes is going to clobber Tallwood, so
yes.
I hope the Lions will start throwing rocks at your house.
And
we'll give out his address next show, by the way.
And you said Kings Fork 3 to 4 touchdowns over Western Branch. Crazies, go get them.
Yeah, I did say that. Bayside at Green Run, Stallions maybe.
I'm going Bayside.
Cox at Granby. You got Granby.
That's why I want to pick that, so I have to.
Okay, well, we'll keep you on the fence. You like to live on the fence.
I like to be on the fence.
First Colonial and Salem FC with that tough loss of Davier Bradshaw with the injury was tough there. You got Kempsville, Lanston. I think we're going to call for that one. I think PA Maury is sort of interesting there. Maury's coming off the game with Nansemond River, and they had Bethel before that. Booker T, Norcom. Don't see an upset there. Churchland at Norview. Don't see an upset there. Lake Taylor Freedom. Lake Taylor going to Woodbridge will be a tough one. You've got Norcom and Booker T. We touched on that. Wilson, Deep Creek. As Deep Creek will try to be avoiding the upset victim there. They pulled the upset against Grassfield, who has Colonial Forge. Great Bridge has Oscar Smith. Hickory has Nansemond. Indian River Lakeland. Kings Fork Western Branch. I don't see an upset on this board yet. Do you? Bethel, Menchville, Denby, and Phoebus. I don't see it there.
No.
Hampton and Warwick. I'm saying...
You're going to go Warwick over Hampton.
No. I'm saying watch out, Hampton. Don't take this as a walk in the park. You could be in a three-quarter dogfight there and have to pull it out in the fourth.
Or, as the youngsters say, don't sleep on Warwick.
Yeah. Gloucester and Heritage. Now, is that an upset, Gloucester beating Heritage?
Well,
A couple years ago they got him.
Gloucester lost this past week, as we speak.
And Heritage has got to play a Tuesday game with Phoebus now due to weather.
And Heritage
Could be a short week.
Yeah, short. Well, definitely going to be a short week because you're playing Tuesday. You got Wednesday, Thursday to prep for Friday, and Thursday's just basically a walkthrough. So, wow, that's different.
Assuming we get those games in. Kicketan, Woodside. I'm not going Kicketan there yet. Here you go, Ed. Smithfield over Lafayette and the Bay Rivers. You ready to call it?
Well, if we're looking around for upsets, there's not many really you can call.
Grafton, Moore Hill. Grafton proved me wrong beating Churchland, and I sort of thought they were not going to be as strong. They got a dual threat QB in Demetrius Moore, who's a tough athlete for some of the Bay Rivers defenses to handle. Bruton and York. York beat Gloucester. A good win for Doug Pereira's group. They do have some passing potential with Ramsey Hyatt, Cole Lytle, Adam Lytle there. I don't think them beating Bruton's an upset. Jamestown, Pocosin. Now, that would be an upset. I think Pocosin will take care of business in that one. New Kent, Tab. That's sort of an evenly matched type of game.
I'd lean towards New Kent.
There's no real upset special on the board. I thought we had one.
That's amazing.
No upset. Ed's going to go with Grassfield over Colonial Forge, folks. That's his upset special.
No, I'm going to go with not Dontrue. I'm going to go with oh boy.
Who are you going with?
Well, I picked Western Branch, Kings Fork. Who's favored?
You can go with Dontrell. You said Dontrell Leonard.
Yeah.
Church over Norview. So you don't have to wear a blue suit.
No, Norview's going to beat Church.
Okay.
I don't.
What's your upset?
Dang, I just can't. I don't know. I don't know if there's. Don't feel confident picking it up.
So the picks should be great next week, is what we're telling you. We're going to go 100%.
That's out the window. I'm telling you right now. Haven't even sat down and make the picks. That'll be out the window.
But there are no upsets. It took us 3 weeks, and we've got it figured out, folks. So
we're going to have 99% on our returns for picks.
Ed Young does not see an upset special. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you had to put my feet to the fire, I'm leaning with maybe Tallwood over Ocean Lakes with an upset. That could be the one.
Hey,
and
put
you
your
said
feet to the fire. You're leaving all right.
It's a blowout. He is a blowout is what Ed's calling for.
You put your feet to the fire, you'll be leaving on a stretcher.
Well, that'll do it for this last High School Sports Talk Plus video show for the weekend here. And we got some games next week. Hopefully, weather permitting. Ed Young says we will not get hit by a hurricane or tropical storm. So take cover immediately as soon as you watch this, because that means you might have objects flying into your house if you had the windows open. You could have trees coming through your house, limbs broken on your cars. So, as we found out during January, during the snowstorms, when he said we did not get an ounce of snow, an inch of snow, a centimeter of snow,
I said we might get a half an inch, but that ain't going to affect nothing. We got 2 inches, everybody lost their mind.
They canceled games in school and had to reschedule my Virginia Preps Classic. So, let's hope we don't have to reschedule anything, because if we do, we will tie Ed Young up and we will invite anybody to come tickle him.
No, that's not
you could tickle him.
That's a form of torture. You can't do that mess.
Torture. All right, that'll do it. He's Ed Young. I'm Matt Hatfield. Here's every Saturday, 94.1 ESPN Radio, 10 a.m. to noon, and we'll talk to you again sometime soon. Take care. Enjoy your weekend.